We're going to have a UFC fight. Does anybody watch UFC, the great Dana White? We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, we're not. Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. Going to have a UFC fight, championship fight.
What if I told you that the UFC, the world's most violent and unpredictable sport, is about to step foot in the most powerful backyard on the planet? Picture it, the south lawn of the White House, the Washington Monument in the distance, the American flag waving overhead, and in the middle of it all, an octagon. Fighters walking out to the cage under the shadow of the U.S. Capitol. No, this isn't some fan fiction. This isn't Dana White playing with a Photoshop graphic. This is real. On July 4th, 2026, to celebrate America's 250th birthday, the UFC is bringing cage fighting to the White House lawn.
Has this whole thing where he wants to bring Americans back to the White House. He's like, this is America's house. Everybody should be able to come and enjoy it. Easter egg hunts on the lawn and all this stuff. He says, I think we should do a fight here at the White House. And I was like, okay, I'm in.
Fireworks, fighters, and politics colliding in a way we've never seen before. And tonight, on Octagon IQ, we're breaking down everything you need to know about this historic event, from the date and location, to the broadcast platform, potential fighters, and exactly how the UFC plans to pull off the most ambitious spectacle in combat sports history. The official date is locked: Saturday, July 4th, 2026. Now, July 4th is already America's most patriotic day, filled with fireworks, parades, and presidential speeches. But 2026 isn't just any 4th of July, it's the 250th anniversary of American independence. That's right, a quarter of a millennium since 1776. And instead of just sticking to the usual parades and political ceremonies, the UFC has somehow inserted itself into the official celebration. Dana White, the UFC's CEO, announced that the Octagon would be set up on the south lawn of the White House, turning the heart of American politics into a fight venue.
This is the Octagon, right? We're building this arch, almost like the St. Louis arch, like this. And the lighting grid will go above the Octagon. So when we shoot this fight, right, this whole backdrop will be the White House.
It's symbolic, it's chaotic, and it's absolutely on brand for both Dana White and the UFC. This isn't just a fight card, it's history colliding with cage fighting. Let's talk about the venue. The south lawn of the White House isn't just any backyard. It's the backdrop for presidential speeches, Easter egg hunts, and diplomatic ceremonies. Now, imagine replacing handshakes and photo ops with spinning elbows and guillotine chokes. The UFC is planning to seat between 20,000 and 25,000 invited guests on the lawn, facing a custom-built octagon with the Washington Monument as a backdrop. That visual alone, fighters clashing in front of one of the most iconic landmarks in the world, will go down in sports history. Of course, this raises a million logistical questions. How do you set up a fight cage in one of the most secure places on Earth? Well, according to reports, the Secret Service will handle background checks for everyone attending, from fighters and coaches to celebrities and media. No public ticket sales. This event is strictly invite only, meaning unless you're on the list, you're not getting in. It's basically UFC meets the Oscars, but with punches. Now, let's talk about how fans will actually watch this once-in-a-lifetime card. Thanks to UFC's new $7.7 billion media rights deal with CBS and Paramount, the White House event will be broadcast as part of their partnership. Here's how it'll work. The main card will be available as a pay-per-view, just like usual, but a portion of the event will also be shown live on CBS, making it one of the most widely available UFC events ever. Imagine millions of casual viewers flipping through channels on July 4th, expecting fireworks, and stumbling onto Jon Jones throwing elbows on the south lawn. Talk about patriotic entertainment. Now let's get to the juicy part. Who's fighting? As of now, the UFC hasn't announced an official card, but we do know who's making noise. First up, Conor McGregor. Of course. You can't have a historic UFC event without the notorious one inserting himself into the conversation. McGregor has teased that he wants to be part of the White House card, posting cryptic training clips and even hinting at one last comeback fight.
Things are going great. The White House. Dana White said, you and Jon Jones, that's a real deal. I'm going home. I'm going to get the head down. I'm going to rest. They're testing me. I'm in the pool. I says, he always say, man, I thought that's what the pools are for, jumping in and out. But I'm back in the pool. So get ready and stay ready, because damage will be done. Oval Office.
Love him or hate him, if McGregor's involved, this event instantly doubles in hype. Then there's Jon Jones. Now, Dana White has already laughed off the idea, saying Jones has a 1,000,000,000 chance of making the card.
Jon Jones says he wants to be on there too, and he says he would fight whoever the champion is at that time. But would you be okay with him coming back and potentially winning that belt again? And you might have to go through.
Well, it's not even about him winning the belt. I mean, you know how I felt about him. I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong.
Fair enough.
Yeah, especially the White House card.
But Jones isn't backing down. He claims he's still training and still wants to compete, brushing off the odds like only Jon Jones can. And honestly, if there was ever a stage big enough for a Jones comeback or a final farewell, it's the White House. Other rumored names include Ronda Rousey, who's been spotted training again, sparking speculation about a one-off return, and even whispers of a legacy fight featuring Georges St. Pierre in some capacity. Nothing confirmed yet, but remember, this is the UFC, and Dana White loves shocking announcements. Don't be surprised if we get something wild like McGregor versus Chandler 2 or Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic finally happening on the South Lawn. We can't talk about the White House event without mentioning the politics. This whole thing exists because of the long-running friendship between Dana White and Donald Trump. Trump has been cageicide at multiple UFC events, and Dana has spoken at Trump's rallies. Reports suggest that Trump himself pushed for this White House card as part of the 250th anniversary celebrations. And, to add more spice, sources say Ivanka Trump has been involved in some of the planning. Now, whether you love or hate the politics, you have to admit it's peak UFC. No other sport would ever dare to mix politics, patriotism, and professional fighting in the literal backyard of American power. Expect this event to get mainstream media coverage far beyond the sports pages. CNN, Fox, BBC, every outlet will be talking about cage fighting in the White House. So, how does the UFC actually pull this off? Here's the plan. A temporary outdoor arena will be constructed on the South Lawn. Seating for around 25,000 VIP guests will circle the Octagon. The Secret Service will run security, with every attendee undergoing background checks. The fights will begin at night, timed so the main event lines up with fireworks exploding above the Washington Monument. The event will be fully produced for TV, with drone cameras capturing sweeping shots of the White House and monuments as fighters walk to the cage. This isn't just another UFC card, it's theater. The UFC wants every angle of this to scream historic, and honestly, it probably will. Let's be real, this event will go down in history no matter what. Even if the fights end in boring decisions, even if half the card pulls out, the idea itself, cage fighting at the White House, will be remembered for decades. It shows just how far MMA has come. From being labeled human cockfighting in the 1,990 seconds, banned in multiple states, to now being featured on the lawn of the White House during America's 250th birthday. That's the full circle moment Dana White has been chasing for years. For fighters, this is legacy making. Whoever headlines this card will forever be linked to one of the wildest events in UFC history. And for fans, this is a story you'll tell your kids about. Yeah, I was there when they fought at the White House. So there you have it, UFC White House, July 4th, 2026. A historic date, a legendary venue, a broadcast that will reach millions, and a fight card that could feature some of the biggest names in the sport. Whether you love it or think it's pure chaos, you can't deny one thing. This is the most ambitious crossover in combat sports history. What do you think, fight fans? Should Conor headline this historic card? Will Jon Jones actually make it back? Or will Dana White pull a wild surprise out of his hat? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Octagon IQ. Because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that in the fight game, the truth is often stranger than fiction.